Reflections of a Skyline, taken from a play by a British playwright called Sarah Kane. The name of the play is Crave. And just in case you're wondering whether I've broken any rules with TEDx and blah, blah, blah for starting with the play and all that sort of stuff, okay? This guy did it, okay, but he used a video, all right? Kermit the Frog did a talk at TEDx Jackson just last week, okay, and it was all over Twitter. Anyway, okay, that's my excuse. As a theatre director, I believe in talking less and showing more, hence why I thought we would spend, 4 minutes just watching a piece of theatre, because that's how I feel I speak the best and most effectively. However, I'm so sorry. My apologies to you once again. Today is the exception. My subject of choice is this: young people, theatre, and that elusive thing called happiness. Okay, audience participation bit. I've got to ask you 2 questions if you don't mind. Question number 1. Show me by show of hands, how many of you want to be happy? Okay. How many of you know what it takes to make you happy? Or you know what makes you happy? Yeah. How many of you will hold on to that answer that is in your head right now, right? When, to quote Kieran, the shit hits the fan. Think about it, ladies and gents. Think about it, ladies and gents. What makes you happy? Now, that's a very simple question. You're probably sitting there thinking, why is this guy talking about this? Well, for me, it's a very important question. It's come back to me. It's visited me again in this last 2-3 weeks in the time that I've had to prepare this talk. And it's a question that you will spend your entire lifetime asking. You will ask yourself again and again and again, very much like Kieran's, points of self-image, right? Those selfies. When you look at those selfies, you will constantly ask yourself questions like this: what makes me happy? What makes you happy? Okay, and that is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, if you're continually questioning what makes you happy, your answer now, when you are 15, will be different from your answer when you're 24. It'll be different from your answer when you're 40. It'll be different from your answer when you're 80. All right? Correct? Probably, right? We have no idea. Okay, but you know what? Okay, since I've asked you to give me answers, I'll give you my answers. Okay, I'll give you my top 3 answers. This is number 1. I love theatre, but that's obvious, isn't it? Okay. Whoops. Woohoo. Woohoo. Yeah, thank you. Okay. This is my first love, theatre. I think I'll be really, really upset and really, really unhappy if I didn't get an opportunity to talk about theatre and to tell you how it's influenced me in some way, okay? Whether it's to 1 person or 5 people or all of you guys, okay? Which is a privilege. This is the second thing I love very much, the color blue. I have been told that you guys in the theatre see the actual color blue. Rather than me, I see a sort of different color, okay? And the other thing that makes me really, really happy right now is this: my cats, Hugo and Boss. Right now, Boss looks a tiny bit smaller, but this was taken about 1 year ago. Okay, I will guarantee you, Hugo and Boss are now huge. But I made a discovery. Yesterday, I left the sliding door to my patio open just a tiny little bit. This morning when I woke up, I'd forgotten to close it, and I found both cats outside. So, let's see. Okay, So really, it's about that. It's about knowing what makes you happy and knowing whether, when the going gets tough, whether you will hang on to that thing. All right. Now, all right. Okay. I have talked about that one thing that would make you, that one thing that you know you cannot do without. That one thing in your life that if you don't do it will make you unhappy. For me, that answer, I've already told you what it is. For me, let me refine that answer for you. It is directing theatre. It's not just theatre in its entirety, but it's very specifically being megalomaniac and being able to tell people, do this, do this, do this. Being able, for me, the exciting thing about directing theatre is the fact that I get the wonderful opportunity to sculpt an entire experience for you as the audience, right? I sit back and I think 2 weeks ago, by the way, ladies and gents, the 6 actors that you saw, we didn't have 3 months to put that together. We just had about just over 24 hours of rehearsal to put that together. I thought 2 weeks ago, I think, I thought, hey, wouldn't it be really awesome if the actors perform their piece of theatre, their 4 minutes worth of being able to influence you with you? Because these are things you say. The reason why I like that piece and the reason why I chose that piece is because it does speak about journey. It is also because it speaks about love in very, very honest and very, very intimate terms. Okay, so talking about that, let me quickly tell you, how did I land up in theatre in the first place? Okay, in order to answer that question, okay, I got to go very personal. I hope you all don't mind. This is my favorite movie. It came out in 1982. And since then, E.T. the Extraterrestrial has gone on into many, 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 many different forms. The most recent form is a Blu-ray version. I have personally seen E.T. more than 40 over times, and I know you will call me a wuss, but at the end bit, I always cry. Or at least I get blurry-eyed, depending whether I'm awake or not when I see it, okay? Depending how alert I am. Okay? And I was jealous of this guy. Now, for those of you who don't know who this guy is, his name is Henry Thomas. Okay, that's E.T. next to him, just in case you're wondering. All right? Henry Thomas was 12 years old when he got to be in this movie. But you know what? I was 8 years old. I didn't care about the movie bit. I didn't care about that. That's not important. For me, the most important thing was the fact that this guy was 12 years old and he got to have a friendship, a real, solid, honest, truthful friendship with an alien. Isn't that awesome? You have someone to talk to, someone to guide you, someone to, I don't know, do his, his red finger tip thing and heal you and all of that sort of stuff. Okay? I thought that was really awesome. Now, when you grow up, I'm sure this is something that dawns on you. When you watch a movie when you're 10 years old or 8 years old, it says something to you, right? And when you go back and when you are 35 years old or whatever it is, and you go back and watch the movie again, you suddenly realize things about that movie, right, that you never realized before. Like, for instance, I now understand why that is my favorite movie. It is my favorite movie because it is the epitome of loneliness. Yeah. I think I must have been a really lonely child when I was growing up. And because of that, it made me extremely jealous of Henry Thomas because he got to have this wonderful relationship with this wonderful alien. Okay? Never mind the fact that he's an alien, never mind the fact that he couldn't talk. Okay? But he got this opportunity to form a really strong bond with someone else. Okay? So anyway, let me not bore you with all this loneliness sort of stuff. We will come back to it in a second, okay? So, to cut the story short, one afternoon in 1982, what happened was I was sat at the back of my father's car. We were driving down Jalan Moraf. I remember it as clear as day because I posed myself the question, very simple. Would you like to do theatre or would you like to do movies? Now, it's obvious which one I chose. I chose theatre because I asked myself, what is important? And I said, okay, I think it'd be really great to know how the audience is responding to your work, right? Of course, as an 8-year-old, you don't say things like your work, okay? All right, but that was what was important to me. I wanted to know whether people liked my stuff, hated my stuff, or potentially whatever it would be, okay? So that's exactly what happened. I thought, okay, in movies, you have pre-production, you have post-production, you've got all this sort of stuff, you've got all these press junkets, you've got test screenings and blah, 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 blah. But with a piece of theatre, right now, I know that you found Zarif's character funny. Right now, I know that the humor that we placed in there with his bae was extremely funny. And you responded to it. Right? It's very simple. Right now, I know whether the message went across to you, got across to you, connected with you or not. Is that all right? Okay, it's cool sometimes to know how your things turn out and pan out, isn't it? Okay, so right now, the issues that are important to me in the arts, okay, are things like, number one, audience development. How can we get new faces into the theatre, watching theatre? Because you all know, right, the culture of theatre going or arts going or whatever it is not something that is strongly cultivated right now. So for me, it is very important to see new faces in the theatre. That's why I began this little time that we have together by asking how many of you are from the school, because I wanted to know actually who are members of the public who have come in. And we need to applaud you because it's a Sunday and you drove out to Puchajaya to come here as well. Okay? But, all right. That's number one, audience development. Number two, the thing that really drives me, and I've realized this over the last 2 weeks again, is the creation of community. Now, I ask myself, why is community so important to me? Why is the creation of a safe place for people who appreciate the arts, appreciate theatre, want to do theatre, want to commit their lives to it, why is that so important to me? I realize actually one of the reasons is because, I hope you don't mind me saying the L word again, but it's because I think somewhere deep down inside, I have this feeling that I don't want anyone else to feel as lonely as I feel. Is that okay? Is that all right? That's my response to my own personal loneliness. That I'm hoping that no one will be as alone as me if they get to be in a family, if they get to be in a community. Okay? All right. So anyway, the easiest people and the most challenging people to form community with in a theatre sense are young people. Alina will attest to that. Although it is, right, her junior tutors and all of that, the easiest place to form community is with young people. Now, I love young people for a single reason, and that's because I get to suck the marrow of life that is represented by each and every one, and it's because young people are dynamic, young people are exciting, young people are committed, and they know what they want, even if they don't tell you what it is. And, just as a bonus point, in my time working with young people, of course, you are working with young people, but you're also working with their parents, right? You're working with whatever their parents have put into the young people. Isn't that the case? If the parents have had an issue with something, that will be projected onto the kids. If you have parents that are open and are accepting across the board, right? That will be put into the young person who then comes into this community of playmakers, right? That's the way these things influence themselves. They're all quite crazy that way. So anyway, I believe these young people, and you don't have to look very far, the 6 people who just performed, I truly, truly, truly believe, and I've told them this already, these young people are the future of Malaysian theatre. This is what I formed, and I suspect this is the reason why I was asked to share this talk with you. In the year 2008, I was invited by the Kuala Lumpur Performing Arts Centre to form the Young People's Theatre Program, Theatre for Young People there. Let me tell you a bit about T4IP. T4IP is run as a youth theatre company. For 6 months, young people between the ages of 16 to 26 years old get to be tortured by me. Very, very simple. Okay? Now, the thing that helps to strike the balance, of course, is the fact that the program is free. They do not pay me anything, and I do not pay them anything. But of course, the great and wonderful thing about that was I was drawing a salary, of course, from the Kuala Lumpur Performing Arts Centre. Okay, that supported my work. Okay? But anyway, apart from all of that, okay, the reason why T4IP is formed is for it to be a gateway for young people who are excited about the arts to get involved in the arts, okay? For me, when we did auditions and different things, okay, I was never ever looking for talent, never ever looking for skill, but always on the lookout for young people who are committed, young people who are disciplined, and young people who know how to sacrifice, whether it's time or talent or effort or whatever it is. So anyway, since 2008, a total of over 60 young people have passed through the doors of T4IP. I promised them in our very first session, while we ask, why are you doing this and all that sort of thing, I tell them very specifically, look, if you want training, if you want actor training, this is the right place for you to be. But I can also assure you that after you finish 6 months with us, you also get to be in many different types of productions, okay? So we have done a huge, broad cross-section of contemporary plays, okay? This is a smattering of them, okay? All kinds of things, from A History of Falling Things to Crave by Sarah Kate, the entire play. This is only a tiny little excerpt of that play. Okay, and we skipped on one. This is Shakespeare. These are our 5 productions of Shakespeare. We've done things like Hamlet, In our very first year, we did things like Much Ado About Nothing. And most recently, I'm sure some of you students will recognize this. This is, by far my favorite, Romeo and Juliet. And I know there's some NISP students who went to that. In fact, I was so super pleased. Half of you fill half the house. Do you see the two U shapes, right? One half is all NISP students. Okay, and I was so tremendously inspired by that. Okay, and just in case you think I'm lying, here's a picture of all of us again. All right. Okay. So being able to form T4IP as a safe community for young people who are interested in the arts was something that was a happy point for me. I have to admit, a very, very happy point. But ultimately, it had to be a point of happiness that I had to let go, because follow me with this, okay? 6 years of working in the same place with the same program. God bless the Kuala Lumpur Performing Arts Centre. But working in an environment of that sort for 6 years sort of put you into a place where you start to work by template, and you start to have to plug things in, because you said this is what we would do and this is what we do every year. Is that okay? Shakespeare play in September, a contemporary play in March, and just because of that, I have to plug in a Shakespeare. I have to plug in a, and you know, it robbed me in some part of the full joy of being able to playmake. So ultimately, I knew I had to let it go. I was stuck in a rut. I knew that I had to find my happiness somewhere, and it was time for me to move on. By the way, T4IP still continues today, but it's in a different sort of a format. It's no longer this youth theatre company manifesto that it was first intended to. I think right now it's become I think, if I'm not mistaken, the period of time has shrunk to about 5 months and different sorts of things. Okay, there's a lot of information about T4IP in its existing form on the website. Okay, this is the question: what is true happiness? True happiness, to me, it eludes definition in itself. My personal definition of happiness is this: being able to live with myself, being able to live with my decisions, and being able to live with the consequences of my decisions. But I need to let you all know, I mean, you've known me now for at least about 5 minutes, and I think you all can probably tell I'm not the most positive person on the face of the planet. In fact, I think I fit quite snugly into that stereotype of the melancholic artist, arty-farty type. Okay? So, based on that, and I'm fine with that, okay, I will tell you right now, in front of all 100 of you, that happiness for me is not a lengthy visitor. Okay, there are many, 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 many happy moments in my life. I do not want to deny that. Many happy moments, but these moments are very temporal. They happen to me for that one moment, and then they are withdrawn from me. They're taken from me. I have the memory of it. But that real fulfillment, that real happiness remains with me just for that one moment. It's fleeting. It is elusive. By the way, speaking here and being able to have the opportunity to influence your thoughts is one of my highlights, one of my happy moments right now that I'll remember. Okay, this is something we've been working on. Hopefully with sound. Should I go back and come back again? Ladies and gents, as you live a life where you are searching for happiness. And what I just said to you is that happiness is elusive. I want to remind us of this, that ultimately we are the architects of our own happiness. We are responsible for our own happiness. And ladies and gents, this is the result of that. A time of thinking, a time of pondering, a time of really asking myself, really when the shit hits the fan, what do I do next? How do I allow myself to use what I have to be able to be a blessing, to be able to benefit others? And also, let's face it, an opportunity for me to express myself. So this is it. Theatre 360 is a collection of playmakers. We are dedicated to telling the stories that we want to tell by nurturing work from all walks of life, giving writers and actors safe spaces to experiment and grow to help pave the way for new Malaysian theatre. Now you understand why I need my iPhone so that I don't quote wrongly. Okay. This is a quote from a newspaper article in April this year from fz.com. It talks about my negativity right at the top there. It talks about my love of ET, but I want to point out something to you very, very importantly. People have to realize that there are many, many chances to do things over again, but you have to look for them, you have to find them. The rule of second chances. Theatre 360, as you can see in its logo, talks about arts being all around us. Hence why Reflections of a Skyline was in the auditorium and not on stage. Okay, Theatre 360 is truly my second chance at happiness. Okay, in fact, our 2014 season has the theme Moving On. And to define this, we say that it features stories about appropriating the past. It talks about for the sake of surviving today and in hope of a brighter tomorrow. Okay, right now, we were conceived in February of 2014. We are only 10 months old. We're not a theatre company that's gone on forever. In fact, people joke and call us a new old theatre company because we are a new theatre company, but the 5 founding partners of Theatre 360 are people who have had experience in theatre for quite some time. This is a smattering of the 14 productions that we've done as part of season 2014, and this is the sort of press coverage we've been receiving in that period of time as well. Ladies and gents, you might look at this and think, wow, okay, whatever, all right? But I have to say, there are still many challenges that exist. Challenges like finding finances. Well, this sounds very familiar with what Kieran has been talking about. Finding finances, finding people who love you, finding people who will support you, finding people who will go out on their way, sacrifice Sunday full days to do a piece of work with you. Okay? And that is something that always pushes me. For me also, it's a case of, as you all realize, it's moving me out of my comfort zone. I've always been in places where I've worked under an organization. The organization has looked after me, but now I technically am the organization. I'm the one who has to look after all the people under me. All right? Ladies and gents, there are many risks that are involved in a life in the performing arts. But you know what? The call of a trailblazer is resounding again. If you talk to any one of these 4 speakers that we have today, each and every one of you is telling you a story about a trailblazer. Someone who has to blaze a trail where there was no trail before. Okay? For me, the question is this, and I don't mind sharing this with you in public. Do I want to spearhead another brand new young people's theatre community in the near future? And ladies and gents, that answer is a resounding yes. And I really do not need to look very far for proof. The proof is in the 6 young people you just saw who performed all those few minutes ago, who sacrificed 24 hours to be with me, to listen to me torture them. In fact, today, just this morning at 10 o'clock in the morning, they really got it from me. Again, we rehearsed in a dance studio without aircon. You know, I tortured them with something called neutral position. They were faced with the mirror for about an hour and a half, tortured by me on a Sunday morning. That speaks to me of sacrifice. That speaks to me of passion. Now, ladies and gents, if I'm not mistaken, you know, one of the teachers can maybe correct me on this, but I've been told that out of the 6 young people that you saw today, 1 of them does theatre here at NISP. 1. And everyone else is doing something else. Okay? If you are me, and if you are faced with such enthusiasm and such commitment, how could I possibly say no? This is meant to be a picture of me again, okay? It's meant to tell you that loneliness is still something that knocks on my door. But ladies and gents, in conclusion, number one, I've learned 5 lessons, okay? The first lesson is this. It's a lifetime journey that I have been living dedicated to the search for happiness. Who doesn't want to be happy, ladies and gents? Number 2, it is this. Happiness for me, I'm very sorry to say, is a very, very, very elusive thing, even to the extent of evading me sometimes. So close and yet so far, so close and yet so far. Number 3 is this. The elusiveness makes the search worthwhile. Number 4, ultimately, I've mentioned this already, we are the architects of our own happiness. And number 5, now this one I've stolen from a musical theatre actor. His name is John Barrowman. Okay, some of you might be familiar with him, but I love this quote. A life lived without risk is a life not lived at all. I'm almost done, okay? We're back to the same picture again that represents me right now. I'm looking out into a sea of vast uncertainty, I guess. But the good news is I have the light of Theatre 360 to shine the way. I have met 6 wonderful young people and lots of other people by extension who have told me very, very clearly what is the next step that I need to take. Ladies and gents, my journey is not over, and God willing, like Kieran, I'd love to live till I'm 80. God willing, this journey will not be over for some time yet. But ladies and gents, the very last thing I want to leave with you is this. I want to leave one question with you. We talked about this many, many, many minutes ago, okay? But this is the question, ladies and gents. This question: what truly, truly makes you happy? If you can answer that for yourself, if you know with all certainty within your heart that when the finances drop through, when people criticize you, when your mom tells you, stop doing that rubbish lah, don't do it anymore. Hi mom, she's watching on live streaming. Okay, if you know through all of that your answer is not going to change, it is still going to be theatre, it's still going to be Block A, it's still going to be Kieran's community, it's still going to be this wonderful work that Sasha will share with you in a few minutes. If it's still those things, ladies and gents, then you may be one step along the way. Is that all right, everyone? Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.